on Sports Shorts. We're going to be getting into, of course, the topic of the week. Brian Kelly here in Baton Rouge have the press conference today at noon. We'll have reaction to that press conference on Friday morning show. But today, Tommy, we're going to get into talking about, is he the right fit? Who won the battle for the right fit of coaches? Was it Florida? Was it USC? Was it LSU? And we'll get our honest reactions to when we heard the news and where we are right now. TK, first off, you were mentioning, tell us about your reaction. Of course, it comes out Monday night. People are starting to get a little antsy because USC's already named a coach. It's already out there that Napier is going to be going to Florida after their Sun Belt Championship game this Saturday against Appalachian State. LSU fans are feeling a little jilted, a little left at the altar, not sure what's going on, starting to get a little grumpy. A lot of speculation. Is it Aranda because he's playing in a championship game? Is it Fickle because he's playing in a championship game this week? What was your reaction when finally Monday night it started to become obvious it was going to be Brian Kelly?
Well, my initial reaction was I said, I don't believe this because of the timing, because Notre Dame may find out that they're in the playoff on Sunday. I said, so until I hear it from LSU and Notre Dame, I don't believe it. And I wasn't a big fan of the move. Well, then when everybody started reporting it, when I say everybody, I mean the phones, everybody knows what was going on. I said, well, and then, of course, it turns out that it was true. And I at first, I'm like, I don't see this. I don't think it's a good thing. I mean, we didn't hear his name the whole bit, and everybody was thinking it might be Lincoln Riley. Then when he left, we were like, okay, maybe it's back to Lane Kiffin, maybe it's Bill O'Brien, maybe it's Luke Fickell, but it's Brian Kelly. Now, I've had time to digest it. I normally read a lot of stuff. I've read even more stuff now, and I'm okay with the hire. I think it's good. I said all along, I trusted Scott Woodward, and he made it happen, regardless if Kelly told him no 6 weeks ago and he thought he had Riley. All of that really doesn't matter. The point is, it's now Brian Kelly, and Brian Kelly said to the team yesterday, the reason he's at LSU is he wants to coach better players and he wants to coach in the best conference in America. So he's basically saying LSU is a much better job than Notre Dame. He's got a better chance to win a championship because we know the whole story. They've won three with three different coaches in the last 20 years. And let's just be honest. I got to believe Brian Kelly's a better coach than Les Miles and Ed Orgeron. And he knows that. Okay, he's not going to say that, but he knows he can win here. He's asked both his coordinators to follow him here. As of, 9:30 this morning, we don't have an answer on that yet. But to let it play out, the famous Rance 13 line. That's very true. But I think it's a great hire. Time will tell. It follows the great hire of Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson, who I'm going to get to meet tomorrow night at a dinner. And, hey, it is what it is now. He's the coach. I'm looking forward to the press conference today. I'm going to drop a podcast this evening at Talking Sports with TK, all about the hiring and everything that happens at the press conference today. Ronnie, we earlier had a question when you had a little electricity issue. Will Brian Kelly coach LSU in a bowl game? We know he's not coaching Notre Dame no matter what happens to them. And I think that'll get covered today. I haven't seen any information that says whether he would coach or not. He might let Brad Davis do it. I'm sure he'd be involved. He'd be at practice. He'll be at the game, obviously. But he's got to put a staff together. More importantly, he's got to recruit. There's 2 weeks from today. The early signing period begins. He's going to be a busy dude, no question about it. But he's glad to be here. His contract is, he's got the same agent as Lincoln Riley. The contracts are very similar with the houses and the cars and the jet and all of that. Trace Armstrong is the agent for both guys. So, he's the coach. He's coming here to win a championship. Scott Woodward, the night of the separation agreement with Ed Orgeron, said the search for the next championship football coach begins immediately. Well, he has found a coach that he thinks will win the next championship at LSU. And, Ronnie, it's interesting. All the people that I talk to on a regular basis that watch Sports Shorts daily and they listen to Sports Shorts radio, they listen to my podcast, whatever, they've all come around. All of them have been like, the more I'm learning, the more I see, okay, this is going to be good. So I think LSU fans are going to get behind Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think any hire you make until they play a game and lose their first game, everybody's ultimately optimistic. We're super optimistic about Jay Johnson. We're super optimistic about Kim Mulkey winning a national championship, and then they go and lose to Florida Gulf Coast or something. Week 2 is like, oh, okay, well, That'll be a while. But we go back. First off, Trace Armstrong, what a great week for him. I mean, like,
he don't have to work another day in his life.
Yeah, the agent for Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly, and Trace, a good guy. I remember he played for the Falcons back in the day. He's an author. He's been an agent for a long time.
Arizona State guy.
Yeah, I mean, he called me years ago. Was working with a friend of mine and called me years ago to talk about some kind of job, probably 10, 12 years ago. But here's the thing about Trace Armstrong. He pulled the realtor move, right? Oh, I know you wanted that 4-bedroom house right there, but it just got sold. But look, I got another one down the street. I got this beautiful other one, and I know it's not in the neighborhood you want to be in, but it's in the neighborhood right next door. You'll really love it too. And it's like, okay, well, I got to get something. The kids got to get in school. And I mean, like, that's what he did. LSU wanted Lincoln Riley. They thought they had Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley decided to go West Coast. And look, I don't blame him at all. I don't think it means anything about his character that he didn't take the bigger challenge and go to Baton Rouge. I'm sorry. He's 38 or 39 or whatever he is, Tommy. Live in Hollywood or live in Baton Rouge, okay? No disrespect. We love the capital city. But
I'd live in Baton Rouge, but I don't have that choice.
But, yeah, you're not that guy. And I don't know that you've spent a lot of time in Hollywood with his bankroll. It's a pretty good place to be. And I mean, the guy's, he's young and good looking. He's going to be the star of the town. He's going to be the face of the league. There's nobody in that league that's dominating. So, the door is wide open to jump into the Pac-12 and make the USC brand relevant again and do whatever you want to do. So I don't blame Lincoln Riley at all for doing what he did. He's plenty young. If he wants the challenge of the SEC and all that BS, he can do it later on in life. But when they didn't get him, it was like, okay, well, whoever they get is probably not going to be a splash hire. And quite honestly, I never ever thought Brian Kelly would leave Notre Dame for a couple of reasons. One, the guy grew up in the North. He's coached up in the North. It's easier, in my opinion, to get to the playoffs through Notre Dame than it is LSU. Notre Dame always gets the benefit of the doubt. They play on national TV. They have one of the greatest brand in college sports. And if it's close, if they've got one loss and everybody else got one loss, Notre Dame usually benefits from that. And they have the easier schedule because it looks good on paper. They play everybody from the USCs and the Stanfords, and then they'll all the way across the country. But at the same time, most of these teams haven't been very good lately, and so they've benefited from that as well. So I thought when it came for Brian Kelly, if he wanted to play for national championships, he wanted to play in the college football playoff, he wanted to win 10 games every year, Notre Dame's where he needs to be. But clearly, when we find out now, and we heard, but we didn't listen over the years, he was always frustrated about getting the 4 and 5, getting the talented athlete into his school because the academic restrictions were always just a little too hard. And he wanted those exceptions, and he wanted to be able to get those players in, and he couldn't. And I think over time he got frustrated. Hey, we're winning 10, 11 games, but yet when it comes down to it and we got to play the Alabamas or the Clemsons of the world, we just don't have the horses that they have. And I think at some point that's where he's at. He's been there 12 years. He's looking around. They've got more horses than us. This is a wonderful place, but I want to go have those horses. And, oh, by the way, I was surprised that he's not making more money than he's making. And so LSU, of course, dropped that 95. We don't know the details of the contract.
Well, no, they've been released. It can get up to 105.
Okay, but is it guaranteed? Is the 95 guaranteed?
Yes. He's the highest paid coach in football, pro or college.
Fully guaranteed contract.
They got to pay him 90% if he leaves. Unless they fire him with cause. If he leaves without cause. And there's some things tied to Woodward. If Woodward is somehow not there and he still is, I read it. It's in the Advocate. Everybody.
So if Woodward leaves, then he has the ability to leave without penalty.
No, and the buyout thing becomes different. Gotcha. And again, it's in the Advocate. I think I sent it to you, but the details are in there. Now, here's the other thing. He was promised a football ops building at Notre Dame. That hasn't happened yet. I read the transcript from yesterday's Notre Dame AD Swarbrick, his conference. He said he knew a year ago Brian Kelly was not happy. And Brian Kelly just basically called him and said, I'm resigning. I'm taking another job. There was no attempt by Notre Dame to keep him or raise his pay. He didn't leverage against Notre Dame. He wanted out, and he got a chance to get out, and he took it. I can tell you this too, Ronnie. I got to tell you this for 100% fact. He's got a great friend that lives in Louisiana, and that person was in contact with him a couple of days before Sunday about he might possibly end up in Baton Rouge.
Well, regardless of timeline, he is here. Now, here comes the question, Tommy, that I have and everybody has, okay? We were all going down the Lincoln Riley train for a week in our mind. We're seeing this young coach, dynamic offense. He's done so much at Oklahoma. You get him to LSU, the sky's the limit. And then he goes to USC in an epic deal. Billy Napier felt like LSU and the fans, the hardcore people, never truly took him serious. I don't know if he had the stain of Raging Cajuns on him, and we felt like he was the little boy and we're the big boy, and we just, you need a little more season in there, little boy. Florida didn't feel that way, and they snatched him up in a hurry, and their AD said one of the most impressive interviews he's had ever as an athletic director when he went to hire somebody. LSU goes and gets the tried and true guy. This guy is, third all time in wins with active coaches behind Saban and Brown. He is, you know what you're getting. And Brian Kelly, at 60 years old, he was a defensive minded coach as a player and as a coach early in his career, switched over to the offensive side of the ball in the mid 90s when he started implementing his own version of the spread. And it's kind of gotten very, that's his niche. Has won wherever he went. He's a no-nonsense guy. I don't see him being the life of the party, super funny. I don't see him eating the crawfish and making a face and doing all that. But the question is, can he recruit and be relatable in Louisiana? What's your reaction to that?
Well, yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show, Marcus Spears, the Tiger National champion, was on. And Dan Patrick asked Marcus Spears, said, was Brian Kelly a fit at LSU? Marcus said, Dan, if he wins, he's a fit. I mean, point blank, said if he wins, he's a fit. Look, and they've dug up some of the articles from '99 when Saban left Michigan State to come to LSU. A lot of the saying that he can't recruit in the South, he's not going to be successful. Well, we know the rest of that story. And look, he's 60 years old. He'll coach 10 more years if his health is with him. When he's Saban's 70 years old, and he's still going strong. He's the guy. Look, he's the guy that puts the blinker on every time he turns. When the light turns yellow, he stops. He doesn't gun it and get through the intersection. And Scott Woodward wanted, Mike Scarborough called him Ward Cleaver from the old Leave It to Beaver show. He's got that perception. Now, is he perfect? No. Is he an angel? No. But he's going to bring class and intelligence to this job. If he can recruit and develop players, which he did at Notre Dame, put a good staff together, Tiger fans, put your seatbelt on. It's going to be a fun ride. Now, I don't know, if he's going to be in the playoff next year. We'll worry about that next year. But right now, enjoy the fact that Scott Woodward hit a home run and hired a guy that he thinks will win a championship at LSU.
A couple of comments by our viewers here. Let's take a look at this.
Hey, folks, don't forget to like and share this. That helps us. Please do that every time we're on. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it very much, as do our sponsors.
Let's see. I'm trying to get to this right here. Couple of reactions. This is kind of silly. Come on, Phil. Give Kelly his time and then bring Napier back to LSU after he gets his locks.
No, well, I'll tell you what. It's my understanding. I'm trying to get this confirmed that they never reached out to Billy Napier in any way, shape, or form. That's what I've been led to believe.
Chance likes to hire. Says great hire by LSU. He isn't old, but ain't young either. But Saban was 57.
Don't worry about the age. Don't worry about where he's from. Don't worry about anything other than can he recruit players, can he develop players, and can he win a championship at LSU? That's the goal. He has said it. Woodward said it. He's going to say it today at noon. That's it. There's no in between, and I like that. What's
the over-under years to make the playoffs? Justin says.
Justin's putting the heat on us.
Well, obviously that's the goal. That's why you pay somebody $10 million. What do you think?
Here, this Sunday, depending on what happens Saturday, this Sunday could be the perfect reason to recontinue the conversation about expanding the playoffs. If it goes to 8 teams or 12 teams, LSU's got a chance to be in it right away. If it goes that far,
right?
If it stays at 4, I don't think he gets there
Tough.
next year. I'm gonna just say it right now. As of today, December 1, I can't see him in the playoffs next year. Never say never, but I would think it would take more than 1 year if it's still 4 teams, which it looks like it will be for 2022.
Yeah, LSU still got a lot of massive holes. The things we like about Brian Kelly and what he can do next year, Tommy, is we like the quarterback, right? We like both quarterbacks that are on their roster right now and the experience that they got. We like the young receivers, all the freshmen. We're feeling pretty decent about our running backs at the moment. But where we're struggling is that offensive line. That offensive line was not very good. Started to get better halfway through the year. What will that look like next year? They're going to have some departures. Coordinators. I mean, all of those things are going to be determined.
A big difference. I mean, a huge difference is the transfer portal. You can get up to 7 people out of the portal on top of the 25 you sign. So basically, you can get 32 new guys, and some of them aren't going to work out. So that's something that wasn't around just a short couple of years ago. So look, we said you got to trust Scott Woodward. Now you got to trust Brian Kelly that he wants to win a championship. He didn't come here to go to the Liberty Bowl or go to the Outback Bowl. He's here to win a national championship, something he does not have, and he's here to get one. And he's going to have the drive, the determination. He's going to be relentless, and I think LSU fans are going to be happy.
The thing about the whole question on when he's going to be in the playoffs is that there's a guy by the name of Bryce Young that's at Alabama who's only a freshman. And so, right now, I mean, Alabama's not very good this year. That guy's good. He's getting a lot of experience, and they're still winning regardless of the fact that they had to deal with the attrition and the turnover and all like LSU, but somehow their bad year is going 11-1. And so Alabama's still going to be Alabama. If anything, they're going to be better next year. So I don't think if there's 4 teams, I agree with you. 8, maybe we can talk about it. Maybe they can backdoor something. But 4 teams, you can chalk up pretty much, that they're going to have a better year.
Well, we consider the long shot to be in the top 4 next year. Okay, that's just real.
Let's see some other comments here. Craig Schilling says Riley's new contract getting eaten up by taxes over in California. No question about that, Craig. Watching us on YouTube, you can go to YouTube, subscribe. Out Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rance. That's how you can follow us and subscribe on YouTube. Let's see. Phil saying he went with the Napier. He's the big Napier fan. Let's see who else we got here. Chance, I think about Kelly, he'll be a great recruiter. He just needs to re-recruit roster and get rid of bad seeds. I think a lot of the bad seeds have already gotten rid of, and some of them are going to get rid of themselves as they transfer. But as far as re-recruit the roster, unfortunately, Tommy, that's something you got to do each and every year. You don't just recruit players from the time they're sophomores in high school on. You got to recruit them through the whole time because of that transfer portal. They have one bad week of practice, Audi 5000.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to it, and he's getting paid a lot of money, and he knows the job he's got to do. He'll figure it out.
This is interesting. Chance saying he should be able to pull in offensive line from up north. I know there's that stigma that the Big Ten and the Northerners have the bigger offensive linemen. The interesting thing is that we think of LSU as a Southern recruiting roster base, and clearly that's the case. But beyond that, it's more about building that wall around Louisiana. But outside of that, LSU's a national brand. And the fact that Kelly was with a national brand called Notre Dame, that brand was going after a different kind of player a lot of the time, a high academic guy, where now the sky's the limit. He doesn't necessarily have to just go after an act. But this guy has national ties, national tentacles. I think that's going to benefit LSU. It's much like LSU hiring Jay Johnson or Kim Mulkey. Those are people. Jay Johnson brings a West Coast tie to the table. Kim Mulkey's, of course, a national brand. So I think Brian Kelly can do that as well for LSU, regardless of what the Tigers have done in the past and where they've recruited. They're going to benefit from a guy who's got ties in New England and Indiana and Illinois and all over the place.
Oh, no, I totally agree with that. He's going. Look, LSU has gotten so much publicity since Monday night. The marketing, the branding, the nationwide. There's no college football fan in America that doesn't know Brian Kelly is the coach at LSU. They all know LSU's won 3 championships in the last 19 years with 3 different coaches. Everybody knows it. Brian Kelly's going to be able to get, the players that he wants to get, he's going to be able to get them. I mean, not all, but he's going to get players he needs to win a championship. That's his goal. That's what he said. He's going to say it at noon today. And if it's a big lineman from up in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Minnesota, that's what he's going to do.
Jerry saying that with good hires and recruiting, I feel within 3 years we are in contention, talking about the playoffs, especially with the QBs we have coming down the pipeline. No question about it, the quarterback situation is so different than that. Give Coach O a lot of credit because the quarterback situation was in disarray when he got the job, and he has clearly fixed that and left LSU in great shape when it comes to the quarterback room. Kevin Cavell, an important fact is that he is keeping the present staff that does 95% of the recruiting. They will work the high school coaches, and Kelly will close the deals. Well, we'll wait and see what happens with the staff. Do you think that being a guy like him, being from up north, Tommy, means he's more open-minded to keeping 2 or 3 coaches that are on this current staff?
Well, it's clearly up to him, but, I mean, I'd say you would want to keep Kevin Falk based on everything I know and, Corey Raymond, but then you also, Kevin and Corey have got to want to, be on the staff. It's got to be a two-way street. And, Brian Kelly may very well talk about that at noon today. And maybe he's doing stuff this morning to try to wrap up a deal with some of those guys. Or he might come out and say, it's going to be a whole new staff. Let it play out. the famous Rance quote, and we'll go from there.
Sydney saying he is a Charlie Mack hire who will be here until he wants to retire. At 60 years old and with the amount of money he's being paid and the amount of money he's owed regardless, probably he'll be here until he wants to retire. Byron Painter up in Alexandria saying hopefully he will bring discipline and structure, which we desperately need. That's no question about that.
Well, look, he's not an angel. Okay, there's not everything about Brian Kelly is not perfect.
Which is good.
We got the picture of him flipping the bird at some coach. That's been all over social media, and the hot mic has caught him dropping F-bombs on the sidelines. I've seen that. I'm not just reading that. So, but it's all about winning, and he is here to win. Scott Woodward wants to win, and if the players buy in, it's going to be pretty good. Yeah, last coach from Notre Dame, Paul Maneri.
Money, yeah.
Well, here's the thing Paul told me one time. You ready for this, Ronnie? I think I've told you this. When Maneri came to LSU, about a year and a half or 2 years later, he got invited to some function in Notre Dame that was honoring somebody that he was really close to when he was there. Well, he was at the dinner table, and somebody said, well, Paul, what's the difference between LSU and Notre Dame now that you've been there a little bit? He said, I quote, LSU wants to win, and they don't apologize for it. Meaning Notre Dame, their upper echelon academicians get all uncomfortable if you're talking about how many championships they got and what they're ranked and this, that, and they're a school more than an athletic department. He said LSU wants to win and they don't apologize for it. Brian Kelly, now we can say he's probably sensing that they didn't give him the football ops building they promised him. There's probably some other things we don't know about. And when the first chance he got to leave, and I don't know that he'd have left to go anywhere other than LSU.
Right.
He might have went to Florida. I don't know, but Florida already had a coach. And,
Chris asking, so who is coaching our bowl game? I mean, LSU made that point pretty clear that it's going to be Brad Davis, defensive line coach. Is from Bel Air High School in Baton Rouge, and got hired last summer. And they said he's going to be interim, and I would think that's not going to change. It allows Kelly the ability, as Tommy mentioned earlier, to hire a staff, to just worry about recruiting, to just do evaluations, to recruit his own players as well as other players, especially if it ends up being the Independence Bowl. We'll find out this Sunday where they're headed. Independence Bowl, that's on the 18th. That's right here, right now. Kelly doesn't have time to worry about that. He needs to worry about his staff recruiting, his players recruiting new players, and all that.
And I would think, I think Brad Davis would say if he wants to coach the bowl game, I'll let him. I would think Brad would do that. But Brad wants it for his resume, because if he's not retained on the staff, he can go forward and say, hey, I was the head coach for 2 weeks. We went to a bowl game, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think Brian Kelly would want to change that unless Brad Davis and Scott Woodward wanted to change it.
Jerry's saying you just know a lot of 4- and 5-star recruits have turned their heads our way. No guarantees they will come, but the Tigers have had a lot of public publicity recently. It's a good feeling for the future signing of future. Do you think, Tommy, that Jerry's point is that hey, this has been a story. This is a national brand. Shocking that it's the first ever a Notre Dame coach left Notre Dame for another school. Wasn't fired. I mean, he left on his own.
First time since 1907 that happened.
So because of that, do you believe with Jerry's right that, hey, there's maybe some recruits maybe that necessarily didn't look at LSU the first time around, or maybe didn't get looked at by the recruiting class the first time around, that now are saying, he's going there, maybe I should go there?
Well, the kid from Ponchatoula who was going to Notre Dame because of Kelly's already said he's coming to LSU, and then there's another player at Ponchatoula that hadn't committed yet that I'm sure they're going to talk to him about that. So, that's going to be both ways. There's going to be guys who say, I'm not going there if they got Kelly. And then there's guys that are going to want to go there. But that's not unique to Kelly and LSU. That's guys probably saying, I ain't going to Florida. They hired Napier. You got guys, it's part of it. I mean, not everybody in this country wants to play at LSU. But Brian Kelly's got to go get 25 or 32 of them and add it to what they got, re-recruit the current roster, and play Florida State in the Superdome next September. That's the next thing.
There's a kid over there at Ponchatoula, Braden Johnson, that LSU should dig in on.
Quarterback safety kid, yeah.
Yeah. All right, here's let's see. Phil saying, I think Tim Brando said that Kelly has recently toned down his sideline tirades the last several years and has a great personality with local media. Tuned it down. I don't have a problem with sideline tirades. That's
nobody complains when Saban crawls somebody's butt.
Yeah, I mean when Saban does it, we love it.
Hey, Brian Kelly needs to go be Brian Kelly, and I think it'll be just fine.
Let's see. Some other thoughts. There was somebody that asked, will he bring in a new strength and conditioning coach? Because obviously Tommy Moffitt's been at LSU forever. Who knows?
That's up to Brian Kelly.
I'll say this, Tommy. I don't know that Brian Kelly is going to be able to pull off getting both coordinators here. Freeman, the defensive coordinator, which is he said that he wanted to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country. Well, I think he's done that by just saying that, because he's either going to be at LSU as the highest paid DC in the country, he's going to be at Notre Dame as the highest DC in the country, or a head coach somewhere else. I just don't see, even if Freeman came here to LSU, Tommy, it'd be a 1-year thing.
Well, and he may get the Notre Dame job. So,
but if he doesn't get the Notre Dame job, I think there's a good chance he's going to be offered other jobs. There's a lot of other jobs that are open as well, and he's pretty highly thought of.
I mean, Oklahoma jobs open. I mean, there's other spots.
Virginia Tech. I mean, there's lesser.
No, they hired a guy.
But, I mean, even if you make $3 million a year and you're the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country, you go make 4 or 5 as a head coach. So, LSU fans don't get so worried about who the defense coordinator is in year 1 under Chip Kelly, because if it is a high profile guy like Freeman, then he's going to be gone anyway after that first year. Let's see. Final thoughts, TK. We're going to be watching that press conference today. Let me ask you this, because we teased it in the description. USC, LSU, Florida. Who got the best fit, the best hire for their program?
Time will tell, but today I'm going to say LSU did.
I'm going to say USC did. They got the alpha guy. They got the guy everybody in the country wanted in Lincoln Riley. LSU fans could be bitter and say that he didn't want the challenge and all that. Who cares? It's about quality of life. It's about being the big dogs, about building a brand. He's got really no competition over there to speak of relative. At Louisiana, you got to worry about A&M and Texas on your left, and you got to worry about Alabama and Auburn on your right, and Florida with Napier now. And, so I think Lincoln Riley is the best fit. I mean, from a standpoint of how he coaches, his age, what he brings to the table, his resume. I think that will ultimately work out extremely well for him in USC. But I don't think either program, whether it be LSU or Florida, I think they're all going to work out. I really do. And I know that's goofy to say, but I think Billy Napier is a blue-collar coach. And when I say blue-collar, he's just not a lot of pizzazz to him. He doesn't have a great resume or reputation. But his resume is impressive. He's coached with the greats. He's going to do a good job at Florida. They got too much talent not to. And I think long term, it's going to work out here with Kelly. I think he's a lot like Nick Saban. It's not going to be the perfect fit. He's not going to be super warm and fuzzy, but he's going to win games, and that's all that matters.
Well, the bottom line is win the game, win a championship. That's what it's all about. And I'm going to drop a podcast later this afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, talking sports with TK. Trey Blossom and I, the whole thing will be about Brian Kelly being hired by LSU. It's available on all your major platforms. You can check that out. I know Friday we'll have a lot of reaction. Of course, it's flying way under the radar, but the Saints play tomorrow night against the Cowboys in the Superdome, so we'll talk about that Friday.
Do you have a pick?
Cowboys are 4.5-point favorite, but Mike McCarthy's not coaching. He's got COVID, so he's not even going to be at the Dome. And I don't know. And Taysom Hill's starting the quarterback. I'm gonna have to think about that one a little bit more. And of course, we'll have Sports Shorts Radio Saturday morning with more to talk about. Hold the Rope Radio Sunday night. And yeah, I'm at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week. Jason and the staff do a great job. Lunch specials, dinner specials. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen.
One last thing before we let you go. Don't forget to like and share. Please help support Sports Shorts Radio by liking and sharing this video on Facebook. Also, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rance on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. And then finally, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time kicks off the Santa Super 7 online auction benefit in Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. From 6 o'clock until next Wednesday, the 7th, you can go to lasportshall.com and bid on any of the auction items. We've got everything from fantastic foursomes of golf and casino stays. And we've got wonderful, wine pairing dinners at restaurants throughout the state. We've got a VIP Natchitoches Hall of Fame tour. And most importantly, Tommy, tell them folks what we have.
Well, you got something that's so unique. It's unbelievable. Hold the Rope Radio, Sunday night, 7 to 9. We've got an SEC baseball that's autographed by Skip Bertman, Dan Canterbury, and me, TK. I mean, that ball's got to get some money. I mean, we sold a TK autograph ball last year. We appreciate it, and I know who bought it. He's watching right now. But we got to Hold the Rope autograph baseball. Skip Bertman, Dan Canterbury, and I, we signed it last Sunday night right after we did the radio show. So I want that to make the Hall of Fame a lot of money. Yeah. There's no other place in the world where my autograph – there's no other place where my autograph is next to Skip Bertman's, I can promise.
Yeah. It was worth $100, but then when Tommy signed it, it went down. It's only a $50 minimum.
Yeah, it cut the value in half, but it's Skip Bertman signed it. It's a brand new SEC baseball, NCAA, and SEC logo on it. I want that number to get high.
All right, Craig Schilling and Nookie, we're looking for you to help out the Hall.
That starts at 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, lasportshall.com, 6 o'clock tonight, and goes for a week. We'll remind you.
We better have a lot of bids in by the time we do Sports Shorts Daily Friday. Come on, folks.
I'm hoping.
Skip Bertman, autograph baseball, TK on the backside.
All right, we'll talk to you Friday morning for more Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBaris Casino. About 9 o'clock, we'll have reaction, of course, to the press conference later today and the Saints game Thursday night. I like the Saints plus 4.5. I believe in the Taysom Hill mojo, the power of the Dome. They're desperate. Both Cowboys are desperate. I'm going to be a homer and take the Saints plus 4.5 just a little bit just to have some fun.